am excellent.
Good. Well, hey, I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time for RLI and, for all of the future land brokers out there. It's obviously, you've been highly successful, had an incredible career. You're a land legend. You have won many, many awards, just to name a few. Immediate past president, well, not immediate, but past president of the Minnesota chapter. You're 2013 National RLI president and 2020 Land Realtor of America. So, I know you've had an incredibly successful business, and, we are just so honored to get some information from you and some tips and tricks of the business and what's kind of led to your success in this business. So thank you for joining us. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Chuck, about your career in this business and when it started.
Well, as you know, everything sort of evolves. I actually started out as a drainage engineer working with landowners across southern Minnesota in the layout and design of drainage systems, erosion control. And by the mid 80s, we were spending so much time with our clients that the way land was typically sold in our area was an attorney would put an ad in the newspaper saying, show up at the bank basement at 9 o'clock and it's up to you to figure it out what you're buying. So the farmers would call us, would you come out and look at the soils? What do we have for outlets? What are we going to have to do for drainage to bring it to maximum production? What are we going to have to do for erosion control to stop the land from going down the river? And that's what led us into farm real estate.
Man, that is awesome. So when you first began, you were actually the kind of the place that folks went to help with their due diligence process.
Absolutely. And then fortunately, I was able to find RLI back in 85, the government came out with a well-intentioned bill that the Food Security Act of 1985, which the intent was to preserve wetlands, which we're all for. Unfortunately, they used a soil type as to determine what a wetland was, and they included class 1 and 2, which is in our area, heavy clay soils, which we've been farming for 100 years. So overnight, my business was out of business. I used to kid my wife, it took 10 years to build this up to nothing. But fortunately, I just got licensed, which was a tough time in mid 80s when we'd gone through the financial collapse of agricultural real estate. But I found out about RLI, and it was pretty devastating financially for us at the time, but I knew I couldn't afford to go to the RLI national meetings, and I also knew I couldn't afford not to. And that's where I ran into all the RLI people that really made a dramatic difference in my career. Mac Boyd talking about databases and how to get everything out of the county offices, and Mike Calloway on marketing. And I mean, Steve, we were selling a big 1,000-head dairy farm a little later, and I knew Steve England from Nebraska had done a lot of them, and Steve was so helpful. He was about ready to move up to Minnesota to help me get it sold. And so the RLI people made all the difference in our career, not only in how to market, what to include in your marketing, how to build databases, newsletters. Without RLI, we would have never got where we are today.
And that's so awesome and so powerful for our listeners out there. I obviously am a firm believer in RLI, what it's done for my career personally, and many people around me. And so you also have obtained the prestigious accredited land consultant designation. What year did you do that, and what has that contributed to your career?
Well, the Land Broker of America, that was last year, and I think they were just desperate to find somebody to give it to. So, but no, I appreciate it. It was very much an honor. It's like a lot of things. It's goes in your resume, and as people are looking you over, it's a nice thing to have on there as far as past president, and not only shows sort of your background and what you're doing, but it also shows your commitment to the industry. It's as you know, life gives to the givers and takes from the takers. So the more you can give, it seems like you get back tenfold. So RLI has made all the difference, and I'd like to give back when I can and as much as I can. And it really comes back to you tenfold.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's so true. So you're in the northern region of the Corn Belt, right? How are your prices? I mean, high demand, low supply, your auctions are going well. What's kind of going on out there in your market?
Well, you pretty well summed it up. Right now, we have a lot of drivers The positive, negative, positive to high prices is people say it. One we just sold last week, we sold the other half of the farm for part of the family last year, and the other half weren't going to sell under any circumstances. But now they see these prices and they're saying, gee, at these prices, I probably should consider it. And the other driver is a lot of people are very concerned with what's being proposed for tax changes under the Biden plan. So that's unfortunately driving some people to say, I don't think I want to wait and find out. So again, between the high prices and the Biden plan, it's bringing extra land on the market that we might not have seen.
Yeah, that's true. And so, Chuck, you've been through a few different market shifts you've been in the business. How long? About 45 years?
Well, including our drainage, yes, 45 years. So we've been through a lot of ups and downs, and there really isn't a bad time. It's just unfortunate in the downturns. We're having to help people that have debt issues. In the high times, we're having people that want to take advantage of these high prices. So each one has its positive and negatives. We were really looking at, as of last August, after 5 years, 6 years down, low commodity prices, a big crop coming, which looked like it was going to be very negative. We had a number of bankers saying, get ready, because we're going to have a number of people that have to sell to shore up the defenses. Positive was just exactly the opposite happened with the derecho and drought through parts of the United States. We saw our commodity prices really take off. So other than a few debt properties that we were working with before that all went away. So now it's just all positive, and we're not having to help people get out of any financial distress.
Well, that's definitely positive. So, from your experience with the market shifting, I mean, I know 2008 probably had a big impact on your business. Do you have any tips or tricks or, anything that you would say to maybe a land professional that's worried about a market shift, or, any tips to maybe make it through that, double down on your lead generation techniques, any input on something like that?
I say our number one lead generator is our direct mail flyers, and that all came out of RLI decades ago. And we typically will send out a direct mail flyer to every landowner in the 30-mile radius, plus our database of investors. And I'd say a lot of our leads come from those. And then we used Mac Boyd's newsletter until Mac passed away, and now we're doing some different things, and we've teamed up with Hertz. And the main reason we went with them is in our mind, they're the top farm management company in the Midwest. And we are real estate marketing specialists. They sell land, but they're also land farm managers. And we had a lot of people that were saying, yeah, you've helped us negotiate leases, but we want full farm management. We want or custom farming, crop share, all those kind of things, which is a very specific knowledge, and not only a specific knowledge, but it takes a long time to get good at it. And marketing crops, even if you're good at it, is a tough sport. So rather than trying to build a farm management division and build a appraisal division, it made sense to team up with somebody that's their strengths, and build on our strengths, build on their strengths. And we're just getting into it, and it's working well.
Yeah, sounds like it's been an awesome relationship and will continue to be an incredible relationship. So you kind of started out with layout and design of subsurface drainage systems, erosion control practices. That was kind of how you got into the business. Tell us a little bit about how you got where you are today, and what you think made you so successful as a land professional.
Well, part of it was we knew the farmers through all of our years of working with drainage and helping them. We knew the farmers, and when it came down to it made sense to get licensed in real estate. It was a good thing, and it was a wake up. Yes, I knew all the farmers, but it turned out they were my buyers, not my sellers. So I had to totally rethink the whole game, and that's where meeting Mac and newsletters, so we could get to the landowners that own the land that sometime will be thinking of selling. What's interesting now, after 45 years, all these farmers I've worked with that were my buyers now are coming to us thinking
So
it's time to sell. So it's I guess if you stay around long enough, the market comes around. But so I think the background of that, and the farmers knew that we knew land. It just took a while. Of course, again, in the mid 80s, everything was upside down. A lot of people came and said, we just sell our farm, but the debt was higher than what the land was worth. And so it was a good time to learn. It wasn't a great time to sell or to try to get a lot of listings, but it was a good time to learn our business and keep going till everybody realized we knew the land, but did we know how to sell a farm, know the real estate and marketing. And so it all went hand in hand, but it's been a wonderful business.
That's so awesome, Chuck. I think it's truly a testimony too to your character, your honesty, integrity, what you do for your clients, what you bring to the table. And I kind of always tell our team that it isn't really what you know, it is who you know, and your ability to be very direct and helpful and have the highest ethics and morals. And if you don't know the answer, be willing to say you don't know the answer and go find the answer. It's out there for you. So I think one thing that I would love to hear is how at your success level, what keeps you driven? We know you could probably hang it up tomorrow and be good for the rest of your life. So what keeps you driven to continue to do what you do?
Well, I just love what we do. And a lot of people are calling now concerned that we went with Hertz and we're retiring and quitting. And it's like, that's the farthest thing from the fact. You retire or quit what you don't like. You don't quit from what you do like. And I don't sit real well. And all you have to do is get sick one day and sit home and watch TV and realize I either have to get well or I have to find a cliff to jump off. So, but you brought up a good point about you don't have to be the brightest bulb. You're just honest, have high morals. That gets around and people know that you're looking out for their interests, not yours. And you're really there to do the best job for them that you can and listen to what their issues are, their concerns, their goals and objectives. And you do that long enough and people come to you, they'll find you, you won't have to find them.
That's right. And kind of, I think embracing relationships is what it's all about, being willing to get out and meet people and build your sphere of influence. Let people, know that you're not going to stop. You're going to perfect your craft and be the best at what you do. And I think you're such a great example of that. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah. So throughout your career, this is kind of an interesting question that I'd be interested to know the answer to. So throughout your career, has there anything that you've spent money on that maybe either wasn't worth it or maybe something you could pinpoint that was really worth it? I know there's been a lot of, technology changes throughout the years. Is there anything you can think of that was well worth the money or that maybe wasn't worth the money?
Well, your direct mail flyers, again, are the biggest benefit because that gets your name out. And we've had numerous times where we're up against somebody else and the other company's sort of bad mouthing us a little bit and then they're no good, whatever. And unfortunately, that is out in the marketplace once in a while. But the person listed with us because they said, yep, you're telling us how great you are, but I could wallpaper my house with their direct mail flyers on the farms they're selling. So the direct mail flyers really have been the main thing. The internet is very helpful, but I'd say the number one thing has been our direct mail flyers and just trying different things. And sometimes you find something doesn't work, but it just doesn't work now. 3 years from now, when the market changes, try it again. And it's just been as you do too. It's just sort of keep moving. This looks like a good idea. Let's try that. And sometimes that works really well. And other times it doesn't. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It just might mean the timing is wrong. But again, the number one thing is direct mail. The internet, of course, has opened up the whole world. But the direct mail, I'd say, still is the number one thing that does a lot of our work for us.
That's awesome. And I can attest to that as well. And the market changes, and sometimes we want to change our techniques. There's so many shiny objects out there as realtors that are, coming at us all the time. Oh, do this. But I think that you said it very well. Just, run it up the middle, stick to what works, be consistent in your marketing efforts, and continue to, foster those relationships as well. So let me ask you this, Chuck. So why do you continue to be a part of RLI? I think you've maybe kind of answered that, but it's a little more direct question about it.
Well, unfortunately with health in our family, that we become caregivers a lot for our elderly in-laws and our son. But so I haven't been involved in RLI as much the last 3 years as I would like to, but they've given me so much that giving back is really important to our community, to the industries that have RLI that's given me so much, basically given me a career. Because could we have survived without knowing RLI? Maybe, but it would have definitely taken a heck of a lot longer to learn what I needed. So rather than making a lot of mistakes on our own, dealing with a lot of the RLI members that said, try this, do this, here's why we don't do this. And it's really shortened the learning curve. It definitely shortened the time to financial success. Again, without RLI, it would have taken us for a long time if we survived, but it shortened our learning curve. It shortened it's not that we never stopped learning. We always are learning and adjusting and we see somebody does this. That's really good stuff. As we always say in RLI, if you steal from one, it's plagiarism, but if you steal from everybody, it's research. So we take first RLI National RLI marketing session I went to, I had a property to pitch, and I never even pitched it. I had my little one-page flyer, which is the way the guy I worked with did it. And I get there and they have all these brochures and I see how pros do it. And I was so embarrassed, I never even pitched my property. But I went home with a carload of brochures and started taking the good from here and the good from there. And it really helped us start moving up quickly in what needed to be in a brochure, that if I was a buyer, what do I want to know? And that's what we included in our information. So again, it's made all the difference.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And I couldn't agree more, rubbing shoulders with the best in the business. And, you don't know what you don't know. And whenever you learn those things, it's like a light bulb goes off. You're like, wow, why wasn't I doing this earlier? This is so smart. And there's so many tidbits that, can be picked up by attending these national conferences and rubbing shoulders with, other professionals in the land business. So that kind of leads into my next question. So the accredited land consultant designation. So we know that you have that designation. You've worked very hard to get that designation. What does that mean to you? What's the value of the ALC if we were just talking to somebody that doesn't know much about it?
Well, no, a lot of people in the public don't know what the ALC stands for. In our industry, people do. And it's not necessarily that the ALC designation is going to make you a ton of money. It's sort of like the goal of being a millionaire. Yeah, the money's nice, but it's what you have to learn and become to get to that point. And the ALC is sort of the same thing. It's all the things that you have to learn and the people you have to meet and evolve to get that designation is what is really the most important. The classes you have to take, the people that you meet, that's probably as much of the benefit of the ALC as actually having that designation. Mm-hmm. And it's probably more important within our industry because I get calls from brokers in different parts of the United States. Gee, I've got this client up in Minnesota. They don't know me, but I looked through and found out who is an ALC in Minnesota, and they call. And I do that when it's in other states, vice versa. So you tend to start with the people that have done the work to set themselves apart from the rest of the people. And that's where you want to start when you're looking for somebody to help you on a project.
Yeah, that's such incredible input. And I couldn't agree more. And like you said, it doesn't just make you tons of money, even though the average ALC makes about $373,000 a year based on, RLI's extensive research. But that's not just because they have the ALC. That's because of the road and the path it took to get there. The rigorous coursework, the knowledge, the fact that people know that they're not going anywhere, they're going to continue to strive to be the best. And I think that that is really what sets the ALCs apart as well. So great answer there. I appreciate that. So Chuck, what would you say? So you specialize mainly in farmland, agricultural land. You obviously have opportunities, I'm sure, to sell transitional land and farms, cattle ranches, probably here and there. Do you use referral partners? I mean, even homes, if people come to you with a home on 5 acres or anything like that, do you have some vendors and referral partners that you work with and refer that stuff to, or do you do some of those deals too?
We do. We don't get involved in there's probably like a farm building site or setup that we get involved in now and then that we typically farm building sites. I'll spin those. If it's just a building site, we'll refer it to other residential specialists. But there's times we do get involved with them, people that we've sold land for or done work in the past, and they say, I understand, but we want you to do it anyway. And then we'll help out in that part. But one thing that we've done, there's a lot of realtors that want to have their own closing services, so they do everything. And we started early on that we have a policy that we always have an attorney involved in our transactions to close them. Mm-hmm. And that's worked out very well. In fact, 3 of the listings I'm doing right now are from attorneys. We've always included them in our transactions. And typically the young attorneys don't, but as they get older and they realize the marketing that we do that is very extensive between radio, direct mail, the land brokers co-op, newsletters, you name it, we throw a very wide net. Once they realize that our capabilities are dramatically more than theirs, now we get a lot of listings from attorneys. So that's one thing I would suggest. Don't cut the attorneys out thinking I'm going to make a little extra money closing the transactions. Usually including them not only removes you of the liability of the closings, but we get a lot of listings from attorneys.
That is such good advice, Chuck. That's very, I couldn't agree more. I think that's a very good tidbit and kind of leads into my next question as well. So what advice for, a future land agent, maybe someone that's looking at getting in the business or just has gotten started, are there any tips or tricks or anything that you would say you need to do this, you need to focus on this? Or is there anything that you would tell a new person getting into the business?
Well, one, you have to get exposure. You have to be out there. I was fortunate that with our drainage business, a lot of people knew us. And but if you don't have something like past business you're coming from, you need to get out there and let people know what you do. People aren't mind readers. The other thing, again, big deal is get involved with RLI. And I'm pushing some of our, unfortunately with COVID, we've missed a couple of years of in-person. I'm hoping next year at San Antonio, we can get our group down there. One of my guys just got his ALC, and I've got a couple more working on that. And again, they're learning, taking those classes. That builds their knowledge. So as they're talking to clients, they know more just because they've been through the classes on transitional land and investment analysis and farm marketing, and they hear it more from other people just than us. And also get involved nationally, because again, the more you give, the more you get back. It's not just 1 for 1, it's more like 10 to 1. So the more you give, you get back exponentially.
Yeah, that's such incredible advice. I couldn't echo that any louder. That's so incredibly true. What you put in is you will get out exponentially what you put in. So well, that's awesome, Chuck. Well, I sincerely appreciate your time. I think your knowledge is incredible. I appreciate your input, and really do respect you in this business. And I'm just honored to be talking to the land legend. So.
Oh, good grief. Well, and I appreciate, that's the thing. As I'm 68 now, I'm not going anywhere, but you do get to a point, you got to let the next generation run. So guys like you that are building our businesses and building RLI for the future, it's important. And I appreciate all you're doing too.
Well, thank you very much, Chuck. I appreciate you. And, this kind of concludes our our conversation here, but I just wanted to just say thank you so much for everything you do. I pray that you have an incredibly successful relationship with Hertz. I know you will. Randy's a great guy, and you know, I know your business is only headed in better places. So thank you. Thanks for everything you do for RLI, and look forward to hopefully seeing you here soon.
Oh yeah, you know, I look forward to seeing hopefully you and Aubrey in San Antonio, and March will be here in about 10 minutes. So
isn't that the truth?
We'll see
thank
you then.
so much. All right, we'll see you.
Thank you.